Hello, and welcome to this edition of a Time with Hime podcast. This week, coming back from a couple days of snow days, remote days, virtual days, however we call them, we're glad to be back. First of the year. Hey, we weren't last week when we did the podcast, we didn't see that weather coming in, and it hit. Oklahoma weather at its best. Somebody said Friday of this week, we have a chance of setting the high for that day. We could be in the 70s on Friday, but we're going to be back in the teens on the weekend. They said that it could even get to zero. They said there may be a 70-degree weather difference within 24 hours. Welcome to Oklahoma. Hey, this week we have some awesome guests. We have two juniors from each of our high schools. We're going to let them introduce themselves. We like this. We're going to let them talk, ask them some questions. So we'll start with Santana. Introduce yourself and what you do, and then we'll just move to your left and go on.
Yes, sir, understood. Hello, my name is Santana Gordon. I go to Eisenhower High School. I'm a part of student council, and I play baseball.
I'm Mackenzie Linville. I go to Lawton High School, and I do drama there.
Hi, my name is Addie Bratzler, and I'm the junior class president at MacArthur High School.
Hi, I'm William Downey. I'm the junior class president at Lawton High School.
Hi, my name is Reese Brandenburg. I'm the junior vice president.
What school do you go to?
Eisenhower.
I could tell by your shirt.
Hi, my name's Emma Kirby. I go to MacArthur, and I am the executive parliamentarian for our student body.
Oh, awesome. One thing I always ask now, and we're going to start with Mackenzie, because we'll just move over one. I always ask when I get student leaders on here is if you were superintendent for a day, tell me something you would do to make schools different.
Oh, school's different.
Well, just make it better. We always I have one of my sayings. I have a lot of sayings, and one of mine I talk about a lot, especially with my leadership team, is you don't have to be bad to get better. If you kind of live by that, you don't have to say you're bad, but we should be trying to improve every day. So if you can, what would you do to make us better?
I would...
Ooh, tough question.
That is a tough question. I would spend more time getting information and intel on this, from the students.
Okay.
Versus a whole. I wouldn't say by basis versus a summary by school.
I got you.
Yeah.
Very much what we talk about. That's one reason why we have advisories and things. And one thing I always talk about, and I don't give y'all more time to think if I'm talking about what you're going to say, but. As a superintendent, one of the things I pride myself on is I try to create opportunities and destroy roadblocks. The issue I have in 2025 is I'm 60. Well, what I see as an opportunity may not be what y'all see as opportunities. So I need more information from you. What are those opportunities I could create or we as a district leadership could work to create for you? And so that's important. Get more intel, more inside information for students from your perspective. Addie, what about you?
I think I would go with lunch times, especially at the LRC.
I get that every year.
I go to the LRC, and when I get off the bus, I have 10 minutes from the bus to class to get my food and eat. And I know that that's a really hard one that we've been working on, and I understand. But it is difficult sometimes to rush and get your food and get to class.
And that is something we talk about a lot, but it really doesn't help the high school students. But because we run 3 bus routes in the way our day's set, we just can't add any more minutes into the day because any minute you add into the high school pushes the elementary back a minute. And they're getting out at 3:40 now. So if we added 15 minutes to your lunch, they get out at 4 o'clock. So yeah,
because of the bus routes.
Yeah, because of the bus routes. Because you got to run the middle. Because we only have one set of buses and one set of bus drivers. So the ones who run the high school route, then they go pick up the middle school kids, and then they go get the elementary students. So it is one of those that you learn when you get to be 60 that I didn't know. Every action has a reaction. It's real simple. Say, well, why can't they just put 15 minutes in for lunch? Well, it pushes it back. So, but it is something we talk about. How do we work a lot on trying to make this LRC schedule work to not be an issue for the students here, because sometimes they're late to class and getting that time. Our bus drivers do a great job. There's a lot of people in those moving parts. And our staff at our buildings really works with you guys if you're a minute late or you have to leave a minute early. So we appreciate that. Will?
I would probably, what Shade said, survey students, how they feel throughout the day and how they're doing at school. And just try to create more things that encourage them to attend. Okay. Because I feel like that's our biggest problem.
And we talk about that a lot here. What kind of hook can we get for our students? Because elementary now, we got the maker spaces. You guys missed that, but just barely. We all sixth grade when I came here. We all sixth grade when the COVID hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's my first. I got hired that year. So anyway,
Rough.
but yeah, that's true. It's easy. Great start. Look, see what you had thought about. Oh, there you go. But no, thank you very much. So what about you? What was?
This might be basic, but fix the LRC parking lot.
Yep, and that's really that's on our agenda. We've talked about it. But even some of our high school parking lots need work. And we've talked about it. And it's one thing we're talking about right now. And we had that conversation this morning in our leadership meeting is, believe it or not, we're going to start having our discussions district-wide about our next bond issue. And parking lots are so bland. Do they get people to go vote? You're trying to find a reason for people to vote for a bond in parking lots. But really, we got lots of parking lots that need work, so that's definitely on our agenda. We fixed part of it, but that only fixed part of it this year. So hopefully this summer we can fix a little more, and maybe in a couple of years we can get it fixed. And
I think I would go to since I go to MacArthur, I would go to MacArthur and see if anyone notices me and use that kind of to test our security.
Oh, there you go.
Something from MacArthur, I feel like sometimes we have I feel like people are watching sometimes, but I feel like as superintendent, I want to go throughout my school and see if anyone notices me. Per se, I'm from a different school.
Yeah, like whenever I walk in the buildings, obviously they notice me when I walk in. But it is a good point that sending people to the buildings, and we do a little bit of that, but we could probably do more. The fences are going to help. They help our people observe. I know they're kind of a pain to you guys getting in and out of school now, but they're really not as much as you can see. That it's a lot more. You got to be pretty daring to go inside the fence and then try to get in. And we've had some of those issues because, guys, kids are the worst about letting somebody in the door. I mean, because you all got a heart this big. Let's be real. It's like, nope, can't let you in. It's 20 degrees out there. You got to go around. So to get inside is more difficult now. And we do feel better about our security. But I will tell you, when I say you don't have to be bad to get better, security is one of those. I mean, that's the one thing I lose sleep over the most, because that's probably my number one job, is to make sure everybody's safe. And so even though you get some criticism, sometimes somebody says, well, that looks like a prison, or it doesn't. The fences look really nice, and you guys got all different looks. And yes, sometimes you got to wait a second for the gate to open. But it is nice to know that it's limited how people can get onto your campuses now. And anybody visiting should be coming through the same door. So we do like that. So we talk about what you would do. Then we talked about opportunities that we talk about. So pathways, opportunities. So now this kind of there, when we talk about it and we go around, we'll start with talk about some of the things that are different or changed. We talked a little bit about concurrent. You can definitely talk about how you take advantage of that. Think of some of the opportunities you have taken advantage, things you wish you would have known, and tell me what opportunities you look at, and even if you could think of something else we could do that would be an opportunity, share that.
I personally love LRC, but I have not had a chance to get to use it as much as I would want to. But knowing all career-based classes are here, that's a really great opportunity for any student to take, and to know that it's here and available for any student. I love that, and I will be looking forward to taking more classes here next year.
So as a junior, you're already taking concurrent classes?
Yes.
Okay. And did you take them last year as a sophomore?
Yes, I did.
Okay, awesome. And that was last year, I think, was the first year we got it down to sophomores where they could take them. So that's good. It's good to know, though, that in the idea with that career test, how do we make it, we don't want it just to be located here. It's just more efficient if it's here, if that makes sense. Addie, what about you? What opportunities have you taken advantage of? What could we do?
Well, obviously concurrent. I'm so grateful for concurrent, especially since it's free. At the LRC, having free classes, and even if the LRC classes are full, I take my classes at Cameron because they're full here. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, that's tough coming from MacArthur to get all the way to Cameron.
It is, but there's a bus in the morning, is there not?
Yes.
It takes from MacArthur to Cameron. That's free. You don't have to.
We try to work on it, yes.
Yeah, so that's great to take opportunities like that. Maybe that's something that we could push more, like how you can get there. If you don't have a car, or you can't really pay for that kind of stuff, how can you get there for free?
And one thing we're trying to do is work with Cameron, because they do work with us on the concurrent, to expand the enrollment, because most of the classes here are full.
Right.
We've got we got more, with it being free, we got more and more students taking the classes. So get more opportunities here. And then, like you said, we talk about how do we get you there if you can't get here? Because one issue we have as a district, again, people don't understand, when Cameron teaches a class here, and you guys are going to learn all this when you go to go to college next 2 years from now when you're on a campus, fees sometimes are more than tuition. But when they teach a class here, they only charge our students, which the district pays for, $13 a credit hour for fees. It's like $60 an hour when you take it on campus. Well, they have to charge you the $60 if you take it on campus because they can't charge different for different people. So that's why if you'll see a memo that says you have to get approval for us to pay for it because it costs the district more money if you take the class at Cameron. But if the class is not offered here or if it's full here, then we try to pick up the extra at Cameron. It's another one of those things. Sometimes people, why won't they let us take classes at Cameron? Because we have a deal here where the tuition's free. Well, the tuition, the regents pay for the tuition, but the fees are the big deal. What about you, Will?
I'm happy that there's AP classes here because we would have to move. I would have to go to a different high school if I wanted to take some of the classes I'm taking here. So I'm happy they're all in one location.
And that's, obviously some of the AP classes we keep at the high school, but that was kind of one of the reasons that we started this is when I got here and talking to people, I always look at things like, okay, if my kids are here. Well, my oldest daughter was very academic minded. I have 3 talented kids. They're all doing great, but she was high. And I'm thinking, okay, how could she take this teacher or this teacher? You heard about this great teacher at Lawton Ike or this great teacher at Lawton High had, back and just like, well, how can we get it where everybody can have access to these great teachers? And some it's worked out, some it hasn't, but it's going to get better. And we're hoping in 4 or 5 years, every student in our district has access to any of our great teachers in our district to kind of pair them together. So,
going off what they said, the concurrent classes, because I know I was way too scared to go to college classes at Cameron. So I'm really grateful they have it here with people I know and people I'm comfortable around.
And?
This is my second semester of doing concurrent, and I'm very grateful. One thing I would ask for is maybe, I'm not sure if we do have them or not, and if we do, maybe expressing it more, but if we have blue books and Scantrons in our library. Because I know that's something that Dr. Child's history class, we have to have one of those, and we would have to drive all the way to Cameron if we go to the LRC.
That's a good one. We need to write that down, that we need to make sure we have those available, because they have, I can tell great stories on blue books, but they had those when I went to college. A lot of instructors don't use those anymore, but some still use them, so they're good. Okay, last question. If you could go back in time and tell your 5th grade self something about school and what you should do. So you're either telling yourself, but you're also telling our 5th graders now. You're about to start middle school. You're about to be Mac Middle, Mac High, or Eisenhower Middle High, or Central, Lawton High. If you could go back and tell, and some of you got little brothers and little sisters, same thing. If you could tell them one thing to do different or one thing to make sure you do, what would it be?
I think I know it's a classic, but just truly be yourself. Go out and try new things. Get into different clubs. Try different sports. Even if you're not already a part of that sport, try a different one. Maybe you'll like it. And I feel like going into middle school, you're very nervous. You're in a new
that's the toughest one of all. Being a freshman's hard, but being a 6th grader may be the toughest.
Absolutely. I agree.
Because being a 6th grader, almost everyone except for the ones who come from Freedom, most of you went to a small elementary school. Because all of our elementary schools are fairly small, and then all of a sudden you go to a building where there's 350 6th graders in it, and you're one of them. So that is tough. What about you, Will?
I'd probably tell myself to try out more sports and take more classes, high school classes in middle school.
And that's something we added since y'all have been here that some people miss because the flexibility you get when high school is kind of nice, isn't it? That way there, if you want to be in band, choir, take AP classes, take concurrent, you can do all that because you're not bogged down on the, when we talk about, it'd be great if you could like right now when you start building your schedule next year, wouldn't it kind of be bad if you had 5 classes you had to take? It's nice there's only 1 or 2. Now you got this flexibility to be career-minded, take these concurrent classes, so that's a good one.
I'd probably tell myself you don't know, or you don't have to know what you want to be at that age.
Very good. And we talk about pathways and academies we're building for students, and we're going to start talking about 6th or 7th. My best guess is 5 or 10% is all that'll be in the same one. They'll start They'll start and finish in the same one. Some people might start and finish in the same one, but they change 3 times in the middle because nobody really knows what they want to be in. I mean, like I said, all 3 of my kids graduated from college, and all 3 of them changed their majors more than once while they were in college. And most people do. I went to college to be an accountant, by the way. So even in the 1980s, people changed their majors. So
I think I would tell myself that I was scared and timid then, and you'll be scared and timid now starting out high school.
and then you're going to go to college.
And you go to college. But after everything new, you'll settle down, you'll find your passion, and it'll all work out.
All right. Santana?
Most definitely just, again, sort of like what Addie and Will said, just kind of be yourself and just like broaden your range and most definitely try out things that you haven't ever done before. It's something that you most definitely need to do, especially going into middle school, because of how nervous you are. Because you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make friends, or I don't know what I want to do, but you don't need to worry about those things and you just need to be yourself.
And Mackenzie.
Seize your opportunities. Like always, especially in middle school, you're now offered high school credits. Take them while you can, because not everywhere offers those. If you are in a place that you want to try out baseball and you can for free, like in a gym class, absolutely do it. There's no wrong way to do something or find something. Always seize any opportunity you're given. Yes.
Awesome. I really like it. I like your passion with it, because it's one thing that we want our students to know. And I guess as a group, before we close this, how the one thing I always talk about on almost a daily basis that I don't know that we're bad, but we definitely got to get better at is communication. Because I talk about pathways, I talk about classes, I talk about schedules, but how much do you guys, I guarantee you guys go to school with students still that don't believe college is free. They still don't realize that, hey, we can take this class that's free, we get college credits, and we get high school credits. And how do we better communicate that to your generation? How do we better, my world is, we're Twitter or Facebook. You guys don't even know what Twitter and Facebook is. I'm kidding, you do, but you just seem to never log on unless you want to tell your grandma something. She's like, yeah, that's right. But how do we improve that communication?
Spreading it within the school itself, and also along with social medias and stuff to spread it across Instagram. We have our own Instagram pages that most students follow now and can spread themselves.
Okay.
So not only through word of mouth, but also through.
So is Instagram the best?
I'm not sure, but that's where most people seem to find out events and stuff is through Instagram.
Anybody else on how we can better communicate?
I think whenever we first start enrollment, and especially with the parents there, whenever they're deciding their schedule and we have to go to our school, I think letting them know then, especially because sometimes I forget things, but my mom will be like, Emma, you can go to college for free. Did you hear?
That's the person that's going to have to pay for it later.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. I'm here. Yeah, definitely. So anything else anybody wants to add before we close for this podcast? I think this is number 147 is what somebody told me. So,
I have one question about the police. They're not stationed in the school anymore.
No.
Is that why?
Well,
is that?
because the ultimate goal, if you look at research and history, is if they're in the school, they tend to do school administrative things. Their job is to be. We'd rather keep people out of the school than deal with people that aren't supposed to be in the. If they get in the school, they're usually dealing with student problems, which student problems we should deal with that as administrators. Yeah. Out of the school, they stop people from getting into schools. And they're right there. If you step outside of any of our schools and there's somebody there. And when you think about it, if they're in a car and they call them at the office, they can be there just as quick because they go in the front door. As in, what if they could be all the way across any of your buildings? It could take longer to walk across it or run across it than it does just drive to the front door and go in. But we get that question a lot, and I like it. But the research shows you want to deal with the problems outside the buildings where the kids aren't. You don't want to deal with it in the building where the kids are. So that's kind of the general there. And they go walk through them, and then they walk around and check the gates. And they have routines that they try to vary. You should see them in there every now and then. Anybody else?
I have a question about Special Olympics.
Okay.
I'm president of Partners Club at our school. And I was wondering what we could do to highlight it and just spread more awareness about all the events we have, because there's a lot, and I just feel like no one knows about it.
Yeah, and the word, what do we call it when the high school kids, you guys work together?
Partners?
Partners, but no, the Olympics, the sports.
Oh,
Unified?
Unified. Thank you. You know, that's what happens when you get 60. You got it right there. But like our unified sports, Lawton, our 3 high schools all do a really good job of that. And we've talked about how do we better publicize that. And so that's one of those deals. Again, we have an email, info@lawtonps.org. If there's anything like that, send it to us. Send it to that email address. And we're always looking for things like that to talk about and maybe even bring people on the podcast to talk about. And we also, because we've had Special Olympics on here before just to share it, because those are some really great things we do. And they're also very rewarding for both sides whenever you guys work with the students doing that. And so we really like our unified sports, our Special Olympics. So yes, info@lawtonps.org. Anybody else? Thank you guys for being on. And until next time, we'll see you later.